the thing that I know that I'm here to do is help people have better relationships. And especially when relationships can be such a mystery for all of us, with people that we love. When we look at other relationships and they seem like a complete mystery, you wonder, how can these two people even make it together? They seem so different. And this is why I think it's just fascinating to be able to understand how it works for some people, because then we can look at our own relationships and realize, oh, other people deal with some of the same things that I do, but in a very different way. And so today, just being able to look at Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, who are so well known, people have been looking at Taylor's relationships for a very long time, and now she seems to have one that I think maybe surprised a lot of people, but actually is really such a good fit. I honestly, I'm going to admit that I am not an official Swiftie. I certainly know a few of her songs. She's been around for so long and is definitely so talented that you can't not have heard of her, or if you listen to any radio or read the newspapers or anything, have heard of her, or maybe got a glimpse or a taste of her music in some way. And so I definitely know some of her songs. Travis, I used to be a big football person until I had kids. I had to look up that he was a tight end because I actually thought that he was a quarterback. But here we go. He is a tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm checking this out. I've got someone in Berkeley. That's where I'm located. It's great to have friends there. I'm glad that's working. And Oahu, Hawaii. So welcome. It is 12 o'clock. And so let's get started. And the cards don't lie. I have a system for distilling astrology into a very, very simple way of understanding how we are wired. And I use this to help a lot of people understand themselves, to advocate for themselves, and to understand that the relationships that they are in. And we'll be using that inner compass card framework to look at Taylor and Travis's, who they are as individuals, and also their dynamics as a couple. And honestly, I don't know how many of you have tried astrology or looked into it and thought, oh my gosh, it is so much memorization. It's very confusing. I don't know what all those symbols mean. And this is just a very, very simple way of taking that information, distilling it into 14 sentences that really get to the nuts and bolts of how you are wired, how anyone is wired. And when we can look at that, some of the emotion gets taken out of it, our opinions get taken out, and we can just see very plainly how someone operates. And by looking at Taylor, who is so well known, people have been following her for years now, eras, as they say. And then Travis, people have analyzed these two. But we're going to get to take a look, not quite under the covers, but see how they operate and how their relationship works. And as I've dived into their cards and who they are as individuals, I've just been really impressed with how sweetly they come together. And so let's see how this works. If you've ever thought about getting your natal chart or birth chart looked at or had a reading from an astrologer, they always ask you for your birth date, your birth time, and your city of birth. And that's actually all you need to work with this system. And so I plugged in their information. You fill this in, and you know what pops out is a card, a series of 14 cards. And these 14 cards are a description of how you are wired, because you have 14 tools that I focused on when I help people understand themselves. And the sun sign is probably something you're already familiar with, but I call that how you act mindfully. And so, as you can see, for Travis, he has a Libra sun. So, this description of how he acts is he mindfully acts through matching the energy of another person. And you can see that name there. You can see the degrees, and that'll be important in a minute. And you can see that it's Libra. And what we do with that is we take all 14 of those cards. They come by email. It's so simple. And I have people print them out, cut them out into 14 cards, and play with them. And if you're one of the people that actually ordered these cards and I sent them to you, hopefully you've done that and cut them out so you can play along and look at their cards as I do this. So, you ready to get started? Let's look at Travis. So, the way it comes is literally these 14 cards. His time of birth is publicly available, so we can have all 14. And I cut these out, and then the key thing is, for those of you on Instagram, here's the other set. What we do is you take these cards. So if you've got them at home, start doing this now, is we put them in order according to the degrees. So that 12 degrees on this card for Travis is the number that you're looking at. And if there are two cards at 12 degrees, you look at the second number to help put them in order. And what I find is that putting them into 3 piles makes it a little easier. You just sort them from in a 0 to 9 pile, a 10 to 19 pile, and a 20 to 29 pile. And then you put those cards all in order. And then all you do is read these sentences in order from the lowest to the highest. And in between each sentence, you say the word then. And this describes Travis's experience of life. Shall we do that? All right. So we start off with his first card, his unique style. And we're just going to read through all 14 cards to get a glimpse of how he experiences life. So I have a unique way of condensing my wisdom and knowledge into a structure. Then I am selective about condensing my wisdom and knowledge into a structure. Then I have an effortless ability to condense my wisdom and knowledge into a structure. Then I expand through tapping into my intuition. Then I put my heart into matching the energy of another person. Then I mindfully act through matching the energy of another person. Then my primal instinct is learning something new or sharing what I know. Then I use all of my tools and wisdom to sense the feelings of another person. Then I experience unintended outcomes through tapping into my intuition. Then my impact on the world starts with processing and attuning to the details. Then I step away from the crowd to hone something into beauty and elegance. Then the best choice for me is to recognize improvements to the status quo based on my experience. Then my mind works through honing something into beauty and elegance. Then I appreciate and welcome sensing the feelings of another person. He is a dedicated partner. He loves a little structure. So some of the takeaways from Travis, he is this amazingly dedicated partner, and he starts off with 3 tools in what I call what I describe Capricorn as condensing your wisdom and knowledge into a structure. And so structure is important for him as he gets going in any situation. And so Chaos might be a little tough for him. He likes to organize. It's good for him to organize. He might do it a little differently because you'll notice that's kind of how he starts off, of having this unique way of condensing my wisdom and knowledge into a structure. So if he's a tight end, he might have an interesting way of kicking off a play or eluding someone who's chasing him. Another takeaway is that he has these two tools right in a row for making one-to-one connection. He says he puts his heart into matching the energy of another person. Great for football, also great for being a partner. But then he follows through. I mindfully act through matching the energy of another person. And you'll notice that his primal instinct, his moon card, is also like really close. They're both at 12 degrees of my primal instinct is learning something new or sharing what I know. So when he follows through, he brings this newness factor alongside it. And I think I've heard that that's something that Taylor really appreciates. Then, takeaway number 3, he thinks very deeply about how to do the perfect thing. His processing comes very, very late. Notice that in this, scope from 0 to 29 degrees, his processing comes at almost 26 degrees. So he has to go through a lot before he figures out how to get it right, how to make it perfect. And that's what he's always thinking about. That's his approach to thinking about any situation. And when he applies it to a person, and there is a reception of what he's been thinking about, and the person enjoys it, and he can sense it, he loves that. And so that is just lovely in a relationship with Taylor. All right. So now I'm just so curious. Let me know if you guys have any thoughts on Travis, if this gives you a sense of him as an individual. I'm going to have a sip of tea here. You can see where if you're his coach, you want to help him. You could even tap into him in terms of getting stuff structured to get the team going. With Taylor, they probably have a very, he may be very much an organizer for them to set things up, to set a schedule, to have a plan for how things can happen together. And so that, if she enjoys that, and we'll see if she does or not, then that can be just such a sweet thing. But one thing to notice is that it takes him a while to wrap his head around anything. And that also means that in a new situation, it will take him some time to have something to say. So pressuring him to have an opinion, to figure out what he's going to do about it, to speak on anything that is a little new is hard for him. But boy, when you're talking football, he's got tons of ideas on how to make things perfect. And that's the thing with his processing. So, but he is definitely like such a day-to-day, like be with you kind of person. All right, should we move on to Taylor and see what the cards say about her? Now, Taylor, her birth time is not publicly available. I did a little research. There were 2 times out there, and this is okay. We can still learn a lot. But there are 3 things about her that we don't know. We don't know what sign or what degree her moon or primal instinct is. So we can't use that card. If you got the cards before this live, you'll notice there's a big X on them, so please ignore those. We also don't know her rising sign or her stepping away tool or her reputation or midheaven. But we still have 11 cards, and that is pretty good. Is that why he seems intense with Taylor and why he is thoughtful in his interviews? Absolutely. He, yes, definitely wants to say the right thing. He wants to portray like the beauty of it and get his words just right. And so having him be first to speak, she should probably always speak first, and that will get confirmed in her reading. But yes, having him take what she says and then really beautify it and make it perfect is really what he's good at. And it will land so deeply because it is felt so deeply. Okay, so Taylor Swift, we're going to see that she is a deep-hearted strategist. Let's take a look at her cards. Go ahead, if you've got them cut out, start putting them into those 3 piles of 0 to 9, 10 to 19, and 20 to 29, and then put each of those piles in ascending order. And then, shall we get ready to read? We'll read the sentences just like we did for Travis and say the word then in between each sentence, and this will be her experience of life. Okay, and don't forget, we have 11 cards, not 14. All right, let's do that. I appreciate and welcome recognizing improvements to the status quo based on my experience. Then, I have a unique way of condensing my wisdom and knowledge into a structure. Then, I expand through tapping into my intuition. Then, my mind works through condensing my wisdom and knowledge into a structure. Then, I have an effortless ability to condense my wisdom and knowledge into a structure. Then, I am selective about condensing my wisdom and knowledge into a structure. Then, I experience unintended outcomes through tapping into my intuition. Then, I use all of my tools and wisdom to sense the feelings of another person. Then, the best choice for me is to recognize improvements to the status quo based on my experience. Then I mindfully act through learning something new or sharing what I know. Then I put my heart into sensing the feelings of another person. She goes deep also. And so when we look at her cards, there are a few takeaways. Did you notice in the beginning, like we saw that structure come up again? And Taylor has 4 tools in Capricorn. So structure is really important, but she's got an extra tool compared to Travis. She thinks in this way. Her processing is all about structure. And so she is very, very organized. She's also a very fast thinker. Do you see how her processing comes up quickly versus Travis, who takes a little bit longer time, or actually significantly longer time, to think it through? Then, you can also see she starts off by liking different things. She really appreciates, she can take in changes to the status quo, anything breaking the mold, breaking her own framework, but it's how she starts anything and everything in her life is by taking in the newness of something, not just trying something new, but purposefully saying, not this. We're not doing it that way anymore. We're going to do something different. And she sees so much potential in that because that is how she starts off. Then, takeaway number 3, the deepest part of Taylor. Now, granted, I don't have those last 3 cards, but we're going to just go with this, is that her excitement and frustration is the deepest part of her. She ends with wanting and putting her heart into how someone else is feeling. And so how her partner is feeling really matters to her. I think of that Scorpio energy of, if I can tell what you're feeling, then don't try to pull the wool over my eyes. Be honest with me. If you're feeling bad, If you're not happy, let me know. I can't read your mind, but I can tell you're not feeling great. And it might be helpful for me to know if you're upset with me or it's something else. And that's fine, but I just need you to be honest with me. And that is something she is absolutely and very deeply committed to. And this commitment can be both excitement, like, oh my God, you love it so much, I'm totally into it too. But also, why aren't you feeling this? Like, I feel this way so strongly, and you don't feel that way, and I can tell. Or you don't care, and that really hurts me. So, that, as they have kids, if they get married, like this may be something where they want to be able to talk about being on the same page about their family. I can see this comment. Wait, so the cards can actually tell you how you think? Ah, yes, they absolutely describe how you process or how you feel. Okay, shall we take a look at how these work together? Because this is really the fun part. This is where I absolutely light up when I am coaching families and teams and individuals to understand the people in their lives. And so here's how we do it. We take those cards and the numbers on them, we kind of line them up from the lowest to the highest with like two sets of cards in a row. So for example, we've got Taylor and Travis both with a tool at like 1 degree and getting close to 2 degrees. And Travis actually goes first, but it's real close. He has a unique way of condensing his wisdom and knowledge into a structure, while almost at the exact same time, Taylor, I appreciate and welcome recognizing improvements to the status quo based on my experience. And the thing is, chances are that Taylor continues with, okay, well, I'm going to take that information, that structure that you just brought up that I enjoyed, and I'm going to put my own twist on it. And then the two of them together see this expansion of, oh my gosh, we could do this with that. I have this hunch that this could be really cool. And Travis is right there. And then, yes, here's how we can take that possibility and squeeze it down into a structure. So you could see that if they're building a home, buying a new house, like this is where they would get so excited to get everything set up, get everything organized, have so many ideas, and see all the potential. And a takeaway is they both start off on the same page. Travis creates something different. He's not doing it in a traditional way. He has his own unique way of bringing things together into a structure. And Taylor is wired to receive that, to appreciate that. And that is like, it's a nice way to hit it off together, right? And so he might have planned for their first date, which I don't know if that's out there. I know they were dating before people realized it. He probably came up with something kind of wild. And she's like, wow, no one has done this for me before. And he probably continually surprises her in that way. Another thing to notice is that they co-architect continually. That these two things at 7 degrees, 7.5 degrees, is she has ideas and trusts her intuition to create opportunity. He takes those opportunities and condenses it down into a structure. So there is this beautiful interplay of the way they are wired. And that is lovely. Let's keep going with their dynamics. The next thing that happens is that Taylor then takes his structure and thinks about it. And she can talk through all the ideas of that structure. And then Travis has this effortless ability to follow along with her, to maybe take those words and create something that together they really enjoy as a structure. From there, he gets excited to be with her, and she's got this effortless ability to like take his commitment and figure out what they can do together. What's really cool is that they play off each other in very practical ways. There is this lovely back and forth. Can you guys see how there is this lovely Capricorn energy just going back and forth, creating this like co-architecting their lives, and wonderful ways that they work together. And then as we keep going, what is beautiful is here is his commitment to matching her energy and following through. And in the midst of that, she is putting things into a structure, and he's got this lovely instinct of what new thing he can do that comes along with his acting, because these two tools basically are happening at the same time. He'll follow through and like do something a little new with it. And how fun is that? So that is something that I've heard her mention, that he comes with a bit of magic. This is yet another piece of magic for Taylor to work with. We're going to skip a little further ahead because we don't have to do all the cards. But one thing that I would definitely look at for the two of them is this tool that we have for stepping away when we all need a little break from the crowd. And you'll notice that at the time that Travis is kind of stepping away to hone something into beauty and perfection is when Taylor is wanting to act, wanting to do something, maybe share a story, share what she knows. So about interviews, this is like, I don't want to say Taylor rescuing Travis, but it helps for her to take action and to let him have a moment where he can gather himself. But there are other implications as well. So another thing, though, is that a potential source of friction when they're on their own and they're not in front of the cameras is that Taylor is ready to do something when Travis needs to step away or step back. And the key for that is Taylor's willingness to either go off on her own, have a night out with the girls, or maybe choose an activity or thing they do that gives Travis the space to make something perfect, and to not rush him, to just be together, but let him be in his little bubble while they are together. I have personal experience with this where I'm stepping away and my partner used to want to talk to me. And so the way that had to work was I had to lie down while he talked to me. But these kinds of things like are things that they navigate, and they don't figure them out until a little while into the relationship. But hopefully they've seen this. This is what I would counsel them on how are they navigating this. And then finally, their last bits of how they work together is that when Travis is thinking through how to make something perfect, they come together, look at this, at both of them at 26 degrees, basically, of 26, 27 degrees of sensing the feelings of the other person. One, Travis, is ready to receive it, and Taylor is ready to put her heart into it. And this is so beautiful. And so a takeaway for them is to be completely honest with each other. Travis needs time to think. He's always thinking about how to make something perfect. And evenings may be times where they may be each doing their own thing, but they get to come back with sensing each other. How was your day? How are you? Travis may come back with, I made this for you. I thought about this for you. And she gets so excited. And when she does and recognizes how much he loves her, he can just absolutely receive that. And that is just so, so beautiful. Okay. All right. So I am so curious what I've got this comment. Yes. Okay. Yes. Absolutely. This is actually exactly what this is meant for, is for people to, oh goodness, be able to do this for themselves. I have a whole program called True North where you can basically just stick the cards in. You don't have to know any astrology, and you get to understand how that person operates. And it takes the emotion out of it so that you do have a third party view of how you are working together. And so it's something that I absolutely love to do. If you want to join, if you comment on any post on Instagram, comment North. That is how you can find out more information about this. There are live coaching calls once a month where I help people go through their cards and understand how to use them and how to look at situations. We can dissect the wiring so that you understand how things are unfolding. As one of my clients said, "Oh my God, you're telling us about conversations that haven't even happened yet." And that is absolutely right. It is so fun. All right. So my question for you, we have been here for 30 minutes, is who should I do next? Let me know in the comments. I am totally game to try anyone. It can be, I thought about doing Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. I thought about doing parent-child relationships. I've thought about doing people who work together or people who don't get along, frankly. And I'm so curious who you would want to see, or even do a hot seat if you wanted to submit your information and come on and we could do this together. But this is so fun for me. Yes, you're not an astrology person. Well, one thing I'm going to do is figure out how to make these comments work. Where do you learn more about getting the cards? Yes, you can reach me on my website at yourfullexpression.com. I can go back and if you go to this link here or comment North on any of my Instagram posts, this will get you more information, and I'd love to have you join. All right. Well, I'm so happy to have shared this with you. I will be putting this back onto YouTube. And so, oh my gosh. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, I try to make it real simple. Astrology does not need to be complicated. And we can like improve our lives and our relationships so much. And we're just here on this earth to connect with the people around us, and that is what I care about and what I'm here to do. So thanks so much for joining. Let me know who you want to see next. And even if I can get 11 cards, we can still learn a lot. And it's just so much fun for me. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Thanks so much for being here.